A man accused of shooting two SAPD officers back in 2023 pleading guilty this morning to the charges as the trial was set to begin. Two officers were responding to a disturbance call on the northeast side when they were met with gunfire. Both officers survived but were seriously hurt. As the trial was set to begin this morning, Prado pleaded guilty to aggravated assault against a public servant. The trial then went into the punishment phase where the jury will later decide his sentence. He's facing 5 to 99 years or life in prison.
Like I stated earlier, yes, it would allow for unlimited ventilation for the fire, so it would not be a ventilation limited fire. It would just continue to burn until it ran out of fuel.
Please pass the witness turn.
You may proceed.
Name from Cholak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Just a few questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I know there was a lot of talk about, the house is burning down, how easily things could have happened. First of all, there was no gasoline inside the residence part of the house that you discovered, correct?
So there was a gas can inside the garage. I'm not sure if that contained gasoline or not, or what that liquid was. The dog alerted that there was gas in there, and there was the odor similar to gas.
Let me stop you because that wasn't my question. Okay. I'm not talking about the garage.
Okay.
Now I know the garage is there, and it's a house that has a garage.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking the rest of the house besides the garage. You tested for gasoline inside, like the kitchen area, inside the residential part of the house, correct?
No, sir. The dog alerted in the garage. There was a scent of gasoline inside the garage. We didn't test inside the house as far as you could smell it from the other side of the door in the kitchen, but we didn't test the kitchen for gasoline.
Okay.
But the door to the kitchen from the garage.
Right. I guess you found gasoline on the concrete in the garage. You found some evidence of gasoline in the driveway, correct? Didn't you?
So the dog alerted that there was an accelerant in the garage next to the door leading to the kitchen.
Okay. And did he alert to the driveway?
No, the dog did not alert to the driveway.
Now, okay. Now you were there a few hours after everything had happened, right?
Correct.
Okay. Gasoline does evaporate fairly quickly, correct? Okay. So did you tell the jury by the time you got there you couldn't smell any gasoline anymore, personally?
I did smell gasoline inside the garage area.
But not outside the house?
Not outside the house.
Okay. Did you find any evidence that gasoline had been poured inside the residence, not the garage, inside the residential part of the house?
I did not find evidence of gasoline inside the residential portion of the house other than in the garage, which is attached to the house.
I get it. You understand my question? I'm saying besides the garage. I'm not trying to ask trick questions.
Well, typically that would be considered a part of the structure, like for taxing purposes.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to ask trick questions.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? I say if I'm talking about the residential part where you live in, specifically not the garage.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm asking about?
I believe so, sir.
Okay, because you went back to the garage, and I'm just trying to get some clarifying answers. You did not find any gasoline inside the residential part of the house. That was not the garage. Is that true or not true?
I did not find any gasoline inside the kitchen, the living area of the house, only in the garage.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Now you talk about the open flame and you talked about intent. You don't have any personal knowledge or evidence of an open flame beside what somebody told you, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now, like if I had a torch and the item in the picture, it's a small torch, it's kind of like a big lighter is kind of what it is, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so if I take that torch, the flame on that is strong enough to where if I take that torch, light it, and put it onto concrete, it'll leave like a char mark, won't it?
Sometimes, but just like if you had an open flame and you passed your hand through the open flame, if it's brief or quick, it may not leave a scorch, just like it may not burn your hand. So it would have to be there for an extended period of time. Exactly how much time, I don't know. But if it's a quick flash, over the concrete, it would not be enough to leave a scorch mark.
Okay. But if it was somebody trying to put it on the concrete for a few seconds, that's when you would start getting the char marks that come from flames?
Perhaps.
Okay. Now, there was no evidence of any char marks or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, now the other question I have is, okay, you talked to the prosecutor several times about intent to burn the house down, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you kind of told the jury there was an intent to burn the house down.
Yes.
I want to ask you what is now kind of a hypothetical question. If somebody was very angry or depressed or mentally ill, just somebody's not in the right state of mind for whatever reason, hypothetically,
Yes, sir.
and they are threatening somebody, say, I'm going to burn this house down.
Yes, sir.
And they pour some gasoline, it is possible that that was said to kind of get to the other person if you're angry at a person without the intent to burn the house down, right? You could make the threats, try to scare somebody without actually intending to burn the house down. Would you agree with that?
If somebody made the comment that they were going to burn the house down and pour gasoline out, I would consider that more than mere preparation in getting ready to burn the house down.
Okay.
I would assume they had the intent to actually burn the house down since they already acted on it. They said it.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop you there because, again, you're saying something that's a little different than what I'm asking. You just told this jury you would assume that they have an intent to burn the house down. Okay, and that's not really my question. Okay, that's what you would assume. What I'm saying is, hypothetically, if I'm mad at you and we're at your house and I poured some gas in the driveway because, you're my old best friend and you hurt my feelings, I could say something like that with the intent to just rile you up, instigate you, aggravate you, without actually intending to start a fire. That is absolutely possible, isn't it?
I would interpret your actions as intent.
Is it possible that I'm telling you that's my intent. My intent is I'm trying to scare you or rile you up. I'm not intending to start a fire in your driveway. If that was my actual intent, you can't say, no, your intent would be different than what your actual intent is. It's possible that my intent could be to scare you, correct or not?
I cannot read minds, sir. It'd be the same as if somebody pointed a gun at me. I would assume their intent is to harm me.
Well, okay. You said you can't read minds, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By definition, if you cannot read minds, if I was trying to scare you and I did something and I had no intention of setting a fire, I could scare you by what I said, right? That could be a threat, right?
I would interpret it as the intent to start a fire.
But I thought you said you can't read minds.
I can, but looking at those actions, that would be enough to say, okay, I think they have the intent to actually light this fire, to actually do harm.
Okay, so you're saying it's not a possibility. There is no scenario in the world where somebody could pour gasoline on a driveway and say, you know what, I should just burn this house down and not have the actual intent to do it.
He may have had the intent to do it and then changed his mind afterwards.
Well, okay, he might.
I don't know.
You don't know. He might not have intended to start the fire to begin with. Is that a possibility or not? I don't understand why you're fighting that point. He might not intend to do it. That's possible, right? You don't know.
His actions show that he had intent.
Okay. So, all right. So you're saying there is no conceivable way he could pour gasoline to scare somebody without having the intent. You're saying that is not possible.
I think he intentionally poured the gasoline.
That wasn't my question, sir. Stop. Are you saying that it's not possible? Because you keep changing it to your interpretation. I'm asking a very specific question on whether, as an arson investigator, which means that you're trained under scientific method, right?
Yep, sir.
You're saying that a person can't pour gasoline with no intent to burn something down, but with the intent to intimidate somebody or threaten somebody or scare somebody. You're saying that's not possible. You're saying it's not possible that a person couldn't do it just to freak somebody out without the intent to actually start the fire.
So again, this would be more than mere preparation if somebody had poured gasoline intending to scare somebody, and even if they didn't intend to actually light the fire, but they were saying that they were going to light the house on fire, then that's, again, a violation of the penal code.
Okay. All right. The basic information that we get from the science of your testing is that there was no physical evidence of flames being anywhere in the house or the garage, right? It's just, there was an allegation that there was sparking from a torch, from a person's voice. No actual physical evidence of flames or charring or anything ever lit at the house, actually, correct?
All they had was a witness's first-hand account that a flame had been ignited and applied to the trigger.
Now, as the person who's been trained in fire, if I have a big tank of gas, 2-3 gallons, however big it is, and I pour it, and I do have one of those torch, it is very easy to start that gasoline on fire with a big torch if that is your intent, right? I mean, gasoline is very flammable, and the flame from a torch that's bigger than a lighter is more than enough to ignite the gasoline from that can, correct? It's very easy. If the flame gets very close to that gasoline, it is going to get set on fire, correct?
It could be very easy to ignite that gasoline, or the fumes of that gasoline. The witness told me that she kicked the torch out of the hand.
Officer, you've already been told not to talk about what other people said. That wasn't my question. My question was, is it easy to ignite a tank of gasoline with a torch? I didn't ask you about what anybody told you. Is it easy to ignite a tank of gas with a torch?
If the gas is open, it is easy to ignite. Inside a tank, perhaps not. It depends on the availability of the fumes. It's not the liquid that burns, but the fumes that burn.
Okay. And like poured gasoline is very easy to ignite with a torch?
Typically, yes.
All right. Those are all my questions.
2 very boring minutes later.
All right. Can you clarify something in your report?
Sure.
Item E5, that's the swab you took to see if you found an accelerant that was taken from the doorway from the garage into the house.
Correct.
Right? That came back negative for gasoline or any kind of accelerant, right?
Correct. Like you stated before, it took us several hours to get to the scene. A lot of the gasoline had evaporated by that point. And he did swab the door. However, just because the state lab states that they didn't have anything there doesn't mean that nothing had existed there prior to. And when the state lab gives back their results, if it doesn't meet a particular threshold, meaning there has to be enough of that liquid in there for them to say definitively, yes, this is exactly what it was.
Okay. Mr. Sherlock, do you try to be fair to the defense side of the case, or is it just completely
Judge, I'm going to object.
Prosecution?
It's not a proper question.
Well, no,
Sustained.
I can't ask him if he can be fair to the defendant, Judge.
You can ask your questions, but it has to be in the proper format.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. All right, so the question I just asked you was, did you test the doorway with swabs for accelerant, right? And the answer is it came back no accelerant detected on that swab. And then you, after saying like, yes, no, there was no accelerant on it, but could have evaporated, so it could have been there anyway. That's what you just told the jury, right? Right? Something to that effect?
There could have been gasoline there that was not detected in sufficient amounts for the state lab to respond with a positive.
Okay, so like my question was the swab negative for accelerant? And the answer is yes. There was no accelerant on the swab from the doorway. But you add the part where you say, well, it's possible it could have evaporated enough where we wouldn't have shown up within our threshold, right? I didn't ask you that, but you kind of throw that in, and it's kind of a point to like suggest, well, it was there and we didn't find it. But there's an absolute other possibility is that gasoline never got poured except on the driveway and in some of the concrete in the garage itself. And there was never any gasoline poured near the doorway or in the house. It's consistent with that too, but you don't suggest that to the jury.
Well, there was also another lab result that came back from a box that was a few inches away from the doorway. It came back positive for heavy petroleum distillates.
In the garage, right?
Correct. By the door to the kitchen.
Correct. Right. Now, see, that's evidence that in that spot in the garage, there was some gasoline poured.
Mm-hmm.
But the absence of gasoline in the doorway is actually evidence that the gas didn't get to the doorway or inside the house, right? I mean, that's the most likely possibility. The gasoline stopped on the concrete and some of the stuff in the garage, And it started at the driveway. That's what the testing kind of confirms, right?
No, sir.
Well, you didn't have the gasoline in the driveway, right?
I'm sorry.
You didn't have the gasoline in the driveway, right?
I did not get a positive sample for gasoline in the driveway.
But the dog only alerted in the garage, right?
The dog alerted in the garage next to the door that goes into the kitchen.
Okay. And so you said that the general evidence was that some gasoline had been poured on the concrete in that area, possibly from the driveway into the garage?
I believe there's a video showing as such.
Correct. That's why I'm wondering why you're trying to insinuate gasoline was in the door frame when the test came back that it wasn't.
So we're limited as to what we can accomplish, right? We're limited by the science of this, what we can prove. I can tell you I could smell a scent and odor similar to that of gasoline very heavily in the area by the kitchen door. You can smell it from inside the house, from when the door is closed to the garage, and while you're in the garage in that area. I did not find gasoline inside the house. Fumes can travel into the house. Homes are not completely airtight. I did take a swab of the doorway. If there was not enough ignitable liquid, or if there was an ignitable liquid on there, then yes, the state lab will not be able to say for 100% sure positive that there was ignitable liquid here on that test. Like I said, the cardboard box adjacent to the doorway there, we took samples of that. It came back for heavy petroleum distillates.
And I understand. I didn't ask about any items in the garage. It's kind of acknowledged there was some gasoline poured in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just disputed whether it ever got into the house. And so I didn't ask about that, but still, you're relating to cardboard boxes in the garage. We've already acknowledged that. It's the point where you're saying negative test results still kind of imply he poured gasoline in the doorway, when it's just, there is no evidence he poured gasoline in the doorway or in the house, correct? There is no evidence that suggests he poured it in the doorway or in the house. And by the house, I don't mean the garage. I mean,
yeah, I would consider the garage a portion of the house since it's all connected.
And I've certainly clarified that 5 times that that's not what I'm asking about.
Okay.
There's no evidence he poured it anywhere besides the garage. True or not true?
I would say there's no evidence that he poured it in the living quarters of the home.
That was my question. Thank you. No further questions.
No further questions, Your Honor, and maybe excused by the state.